Hello and welcome to the Daily Meal for Friday the 14th of January 2022. Now yesterday I told you about Jón Daði Böðvarsson scoring for Iceland's, and it seems that goal may have ignited some interest in him, because we have this story today from Bolton Wanderers. The mighty Bolton Wanderers of League One are interested in signing Jón Daði Böðvarsson, and this is from the news@den.co.uk. Bolton Wanderers are aiming to sign out of favour Millwall forward, as a report says bid submitted. So it seems that Millwall letting him go to play for Iceland's in the middle of the season is paying off. Because if he leaves, as Gary Rowett said, we need players to leave before we can have room in the budget for, even if players just get them off the wages, to bring in new players. We need to free up some of the budget. So now there are rumours that Motherwell were interested in the summer, but I think Jón Daði turned that down. So we'll see what happens here. Will he turn down the mighty Bolton Wanderers? Millwall forward Jón Daði Böðvarsson is being linked with a January move to Bolton Wanderers. Böðvarsson, 29, is available for transfer this month, and according to the Bolton News, the League One club have made an offer to loan Iceland international till the end of the season. Now his contract is up at the end of the season, so it would be a final farewell to Böðvarsson if he leaves on loan, because that would be it. So the report says the clubs are in talks over a salary. So how much are Bolton going to pay towards his wages? Böðvarsson scored his first goal in more than a year in Iceland's 1-1 friendly draw against Uganda this week. Bolton boss Ian Evatt was asked about his side's transfer activity this month. One we have made an offer for has been in for 24 hours now, and we haven't heard anything back, he said. I'm taking it as good news because the first one was rejected out of sight. No news is good news, and hopefully they are having a good think about it. The second one, he's away on international camp at the moment, and we're trying our best to get it done. It is complicated because he is on a pretty big salary with his parent club. Do I think the deal will be done this weekend? No. Next, maybe, hopefully. Indeed. Now, Iceland's are still in Turkey. They have a game this Saturday against South Korea, which Böðvarsson hopefully will play in. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. That would probably be the worst case of our scenario for everyone involved, if he gets injured and then he can't go anywhere on loan, and he's stuck at Millwall and we don't free up the budget. We can't bring anyone else in, so that will be an absolute nightmare. But we will see. So Bolton Wanderers are interested in Böðvarsson. Fantastic news there. Moving on now to this. Now, Scott Fitzgerald doing some interviews with the press on the back of the recent youngsters stepping up and taking a place on the bench during our COVID crisis. So this is from londonnewsonline.co.uk. I don't care how they get in. Millwall Academy boss and his young guns stepping up to the senior setup and the challenge of landing talent in a hotbed like South London. I don't care how they get in. COVID, illness, injury or suspension. Most times people get their opportunity through circumstances. It's up them to take it. It's why they've got to be ready. Scott Fitzgerald's ultimate goal is to produce players for Millwall's first team, and the long-serving academy manager knows that those first steps in the spotlight are not always carefully choreographed. Danny McNamara and Billy Mitchell have both become regulars at senior level, and winger Nana Boateng, 19, made his debut as a late substitute in Saturday's FA Cup tie against Crystal Palace. Streatham raised Zach Lovelace, who turned 16 on January 23, became the club's second youngest debutant when he came on in a 1-0 win at Coventry at the end of last month. Fitzgerald had driven Lovelace and his father up to the match on the day of the game. Protocols meant they also had to get permission from the forward school for him to feature. Injuries and COVID might have been key in opening the first team door of the club's youngsters in recent weeks. Bisart Topolog has also been an unused substitute as well, but Fitzgerald 52 feels exactly the same pride when he sees them make such a significant step in their embryonic careers. "It's the reason you do the job," said the former defender who joined the Lions Academy in 2007. "There's such a small percentage to get through. It's our job, but it's also our passion to see our players develop and get into the first team. I really try my best to be there for their debuts. It was a bit unique and special, taking Zach and his dad up for the Coventry match. I'd never done that before. He had a little sleep on the way up. He didn't look to be a bundle of nerves in the car, but most probably because we were talking quite a lot. We spoke about everything. Not only football, things we watch on TV, just trying to take the focus off. I was there on Saturday to see Nana make his debut. He is someone I've known for a very long time, and his parents. You couldn't meet a nicer boy. He's been with us since 8 years old and gone on the journey, but that's the ideal scenario. That way we get them at an early age and they learn everything about Millwall, all the values, and they have a good career with us. I didn't know Zach was going to come on that night, or Nana, on Saturday. It's the manager's choice, and I'm just thankful I was there to see it. One of Mill's most successful periods of their academy saw Tim Cahill, Stephen Reed, Paul Eiffel and Lucas Neal come through the youth system, becoming key components of Mark McGee's side, which won the second division title in 2001. Fitzgerald has talked before about testing the mettle of youngsters by playing them above their age group. "It's not a one-size-fits-all," he said. "Some players are able to do it because of their physical capabilities, but some are not, so we'll stretch them out in different ways. We do like to play players up. We like to have small groups, which enables our players to get lots of minutes. The difficulty is playing players up and then bringing them back down to their own age group. Development is quite messy. It's not one straight line. It's not always going to be nice. It's not always going to be great. Dealing with that for a young player is difficult. We've got to make sure we're there as staff to support the parents. Millwall are in one of the UK's top breeding grounds for producing the stars of the future. South London has long been heralded for the talent that has gone on to the top of the domestic game, but that also brings competition from massive clubs, either in terms of signing a prospect or keeping hold of them in the longer term. Manchester City signed Darko Giabe, then 14, in November 2018, and Lucian-born Samuel Edozie for a seven-figure fee in July 2019. A year later, and Norwich City prized Harry Brook away. South London is a hotbed of talent and everyone is active there, not just London clubs, said Fitzgerald. We try and be the best we can in South London. We've got Crystal Palace and Charlton who do a good job in the area as well. It's difficult, it's competitive, but that's how we like it. We want to compete and punch above our weight. Having Danny and Billy in the side has definitely helped us in terms of recruitment, because we can show players and parents a pathway. It's fine talking about it, but can you demonstrate it? Obviously we can. Fitzgerald adeptly sidesteps naming any players he's worked with that have been standouts coming through the ranks. You see some that you think this boy's got it, and then 2 or 3 years down the line, where is he? Then you get others who are a little slow burners. Danny, Mac and Bill were good players, don't get me wrong, but they weren't jumping out. I love the way those two have developed, and both differently. Danny has lots of loans, while Billy has stepped straight in. I love watching them play. They've developed into good players, but also really good young men. They're great role models. We use them quite a lot in the academy. They come across and do the stuff for us. Millwall have also got Alex Mitchell out on loan at Leyton Orient, while Tyler Bury was impressing for Hartlepool before a major hamstring injury. Isaac Loffey is on a second stint with Sutton United. That market has been brilliant for us in the last 18 months, says Fitzgerald. I would say prior to that we weren't active enough in it. Some do need to experience different environments and different changing rooms. We've made an individual plan for all the guys. Alex started at Bromley last season, did well on that and enabled him to go to Orient. Tyler's been to Hartlepool. We wanted to break that barrier of getting our players out on loan. Once we got 1 or 2 out, we have not quite got a few players interested in clubs. We have got quite a few players interested in our clubs now. We're not looking for just any club. That's where we've improved dramatically. It's all about our player, the individual. A club can be looking for a left back. Well, if you don't know who our left back is, then you're probably not going to get him. Clubs should be doing their homework before coming to us or looking for a player. We do as much background as we can on the loan club, the manager, the stadium, the pitch and the formation. If it's not the right choice, then we'll keep them with us. That is a very interesting point. Now the clubs should be coming to you and they should know. That is a good point. If they come to you and they say, have you got any left backs? no. They could say, we've seen your lad Dan Moss playing right back for the under 23s. Really like the look of him. Is there any chance we can get him on loan? Because he seems pretty decent. That is a good point. If they just come to you and say, have you got any right backs that we can have? That's not really how you want them to play the game, is it? Mill are in talks with Lovelace over signing a professional contract. Fitzgerald said he is 15 and has been in and around our first team for the last 3 or 4 games, so I'm not more sure what more can you want. I've been here 15 years and it never happened before. John Bostock made his debut for Palace at the age of 15 in 2007, but opted for Tottenham. Now 28, he's playing for Doncaster Rovers, his 14th club in a nomadic career that saw him rebuild his reputation in Belgium. Fitzgerald describes it as quite demotivating for staff when a crown jewel does go. People will have put a lot of hard work in that doesn't get seen when one of our players makes their debut. So they don't see the years that have gone in prior, they just see the end product. It's not something we're entirely happy about, but I'm quite philosophical about it. If you're a good player in our first team, then someone will come and buy you. As simple as that. It's within the rules at academy level. If we didn't have clubs interested in our players, then we might have a problem. That's telling you we haven't got any good players. Exactly. It's our job to try and protect them and show them that they can achieve what they want to achieve with us. There are no guarantees. I can understand in people wanting to move on from any club. The reasons behind it are key. Gary is showing there is an opportunity here. If you're good enough, do you want to be a professional footballer or do you want to have a career? Those are 2 different things. Exactly. I did say this in one of the videos last week. It seemed a bit weird that they were putting Zach Lovelace there, and it seems he has played at England youth level. He is a big prospect. We've lost quite a few big prospects in recent years, so it seems they were trying to butter him up to get him to sign that contract. Because when he turns 16, he can go and sign for anyone he wants. So there you go. But does that mean being a good youth prospect? Does that mean you're going to be a good player? Not really. It might not happen, because there are some players who they don't train on, like Cherno Samba. Everyone knows who Cherno Samba was, but he's not playing football now. He didn't really go on to do anything. So there you go. I see a lot of players having 1 or 2 year professional contracts, but if you want to have a real career, you've got to be at a club that are going to give you that opportunity. Indeed, if you are a young player worth anything, clubs will be offering you 4 or 5 year deals. They won't be offering you 1 or 2 year deals. It'll be 3, 4, 5 years. If you're younger than 24 and you're worth a damn, you'll be wanting 3, 4, 5 year deals. Simple as that. Moving on. This is also from London News Online, and they seem to split the interview into 2 portions. I don't know why. Scotland. So let's carry on. Scott Fitzgerald has explained the main reason he has stayed at Mill so long: the working environment. The 52-year-old joined the Lions as academy manager not long after his contract as Brentford boss was ended in April 2007. That's 15 years ago. Coming up to 15 years. So in April it will be 15 years. When I came, I didn't envisage being here this long, said Fitzgerald, who retired as a player while on the Bees books in 2005. I've said it in numerous interviews. The reason I want to be here is the owner, the people I've worked for, and the people I work with. I feel so lucky. Every manager I've worked with at Millwall has been brilliant towards me in the academy. It's the right way back to my. It's right the way back to my first manager, Kenny Jackett. I seem to have built relationships with all the managers, and I've had a couple of chief execs. It's the small things. My son comes to most of the home games, and everyone talks to him like he works here. I just like the way we're all treated. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time. Long may it continue. I thought, didn't his kid was playing for Millwall Youth as well? I think. Not too sure. For the under 18s, I think. Millwall have bought land in West Kingsdown with a view to obtaining planning permission for a new training ground. The new base would open up the possibility of trying to obtain Category 1 status. The facilities would allow us to go to Cat 1, said Fitzgerald. It's not in the immediate plans, but it is within our grasp if we move to a new site and then they ever wanted to do it. The big thing with Cat 1 is the facilities. We won't be able to achieve that at the moment. That is interesting. So long-term planning by those at Millwall Football Club, trying to improve everything everywhere, bit by bit, getting there with the recast app, leaving the iFollow situation, which hasn't been 100% perfect and a lot of people moaning about. Maybe they could work on stadium food, because that seems to be a problem that a lot of fans got a problem with as well. Yeah, improving the junior lines area, making the jungle. Yeah, so efforts are being made at Millwall Football Club, and trying to improve everything everywhere. So let's move on to this. So I told you the other day that Tom Bradshaw had agreed a contract. It seems he's actually signed it now. Now they don't have the cheesy photo of him at a desk with a pen in one hand, looking up, with a cheesy grin on his face at the camera, smiling. But no, apparently he has signed it. This is from millfc.co.uk. Mill Football Club is delighted to confirm that Tom Bradshaw has put pen to paper on a new long-term deal at the Den. The striker, who has made 109 appearances for the Lions since joining initially on loan from Barnsley in the summer of 2018, has been on a hot streak of goal-scoring form recently and will now continue to be a part of Gary Rowett's plans for the foreseeable future. After recovering from a long-term injury during his first season with the club, Bradshaw had 10 goals in his first full campaign, including 4 in consecutive matches in October 2019. 4 goals followed in 2021 before the 29-year-old has entered a rich fame of form in front of goal this season, with 7 goals in 18 appearances to his name, including scoring in 5 consecutive Sky Bet Championship appearances. So there you go. A long-term deal. What does that mean? Well, according to the South London Press, who put this out, it's a 2-year deal. So that's what they're saying. Mill striker Tom Bradshaw was set to sign a contract extension yesterday. Mill was saying he did. The Lion striker, 29, had been due to be a free agent this summer, but has agreed new terms until the summer of 2024. So, yeah, 2-year deal. Bradshaw is settled in the local area and recently told the South London Press he wanted to stay. It's one that all parties were keen to get done, said Mill manager Gary Rowett. Tom has proven over time, I've been here, that he's a valuable member of the squad. This season he started to show the form that we all know he can. He's starting to look really confident in front of goal. He always works incredibly hard and gets the tactical nuances you want as a manager within the game. He is a trustworthy player. The negotiations were fairly straightforward. What it means is he can concentrate now just on his football again. Bradshaw has netted in his last 5 championship outings. I'm sure things would have done anyway. Discussions started before he started scoring, said Rowett. The fact he scored 5 in 5 probably puts him in a very good position, but I don't think anything massively changed. You're a striker, it's what you get paid to do. There are worse times to be in a good run of goal scoring than when you're in contract negotiations. For about 3 or 4 months now, he's spoken about how he feels more instinctive when he doesn't think about things too much, playing with a bit of freedom. A real plus point has been the partnership he struck up with Bennick in the last 5 or 6 matches. And then they had a line at the end about Dan Moss joining Leyton Orient on loan. Okay. So there you go. So moving on now, looking ahead to tomorrow's game, Nottingham Forest. This is preview from news@den.co.uk. Just over 3 months ago, this would have looked like an enticing fixture for Mill to get their top 6 challenge back on track, but Steve Cooper has completely transformed Nottingham Forest, as they are now in contention for the playoffs. Perhaps the biggest mark of their progress is that they are a potential destination for Jed Wallace. It would have been laughable last September to think that would be the case for a player whose ambition it is to play in the Premier League. Forest further underline their credentials by beating 2020 winners Arsenal a 1-0 in the third round at the FA Cup last weekend. Former Millwall striker Lewis Grabban scored the 83rd minute winner, and he spoke recently about the impact Cooper has made. There is a tiny bit of pressure when a manager comes in, Grabban told The Athletic. For me, it's a slightly different because I am senior player here. I've seen this before, but there's still pressure. You want to have a good first few training sessions and show the new boss what you've got. Cooper certainly did that with the players. Forest have lost just one of Cooper's first 15 league games in charge, starting with a 1-1 draw against the Lions in City Ground in September. They have started recently, losing their last two. 2-0 away to Middlesbrough and 1-0 at home to Huddersfield Town. Maybe that's because the Arsenal game was on the players' minds, maybe. But that win over the Gunners will have them heading to the Den with confidence. Mill will give it their best shot against Crystal Palace, but unlike Forest, couldn't produce a cup upset. The Lions have lost 4 of their last 6 games in all competitions. They have fallen 7 points off 6, but do have 2 games in hand on 6th place Huddersfield. Gary Rowett's side need to rediscover their resilience quickly. They've scored in their last 10 games, with Tom Bradshaw and Benik Fobi netting 9 times in that period, but they have only kept 5 clean sheets all season. Not only have they been inconsistent from game to game, they can be inconsistent from half to half. Yes, quite. They have been in front at the break in 3 of their last 4 games, only to lose all 3. Maybe we should not score in the first half. Maybe don't do that. No, I'm joking. Gary Wallace is set to return to the squad this week after missing the Palace match. He is puzzled by Mill's lack of consistency. I'm not too sure what it is, Gary Wallace said. We win one, we lose one. We went through a period when we had drawn a lot of games and we were looking at it like it's better to win one and lose one than to draw 6 in a row. But obviously, to get any kind of momentum, you've got to back up a win with another win or a draw. Unfortunately, we're just not managing to do it. I don't know what it is. The other day, leading against Bristol City, we felt like we deserved the lead and we're probably a better team, and then they get it back to 2-2. Maybe then we can think we've got to go and win the game straight away and we become just a bit loose with our shape and discipline and open out for them to go on and win it rather than us. No, I think what happened is you turned into defensive mode and then you couldn't get out of that because it's too late and changes were already made, and Gary Rowett waits until we concede 2 goals before he brings on Matt Smith. I think he waited until we were losing actually before he brings on different options up front. So there you go. You can't defend for 45 minutes, it's impossible. George Saville is a doubt for the weekend after going off against Crystal Palace following a blow to his back. Jed Wallace is back in training and speculation continues over his future this month. And moving on, Jed Wallace to make Millwall squad return against admirers Nottingham Forest. So he might be involved or he might not. We don't know. We all have to wait and see. But he's been training this week apparently. This is from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Jed Wallace looks set to be back in Millwall's squad for tomorrow's home match against Nottingham Forest, with the 2 clubs unable to agree a deal for the striker. The Lions turned down an initial bid of $1 million for the 27-year-old who was out of contract this summer. Forest then increased their offer to $1.25 million, which was also instantly rejected. There had been claims earlier this week that former Millwall and Charlton striker Lyle Taylor could be included in the package, but a den return for the 31-year-old, other than as an opposition player this weekend, has been rejected by multiple sources. Wallace, who has scored 5 goals and picked up 6 assists in 21 championship matches this season, has not played since December 11. He resumed training last week but was not part of the Lions' 20-man party for the FA Cup third round derby defeat to Palace. Asked about included Wallace against Forest, Rowett replied, "I don't see it any differently to any other game. He's trained well this week and he'll be fully focused on us trying to win that game. It always pans out strange in football that you come up against a team who are allegedly trying to sign you. Jed's an experienced player. The focus is on what we need to do to try and win the game. That's all that really be important. As it stands, he will be 100% either starting or on the bench. Whichever one we choose, he will be available." So that would suggest that he can't do a whole game. So that would suggest that if if he does start, he'll get replaced. So maybe a goodbye applause off the pitch from the fans after he scores the winning goal. I don't know. Millwall have seen offers for 2 creative midfielders, Derby's Louis Sibley and Fortuna Sittard Zion Fleming, turned down. There is yet to be any major transfers conducted in or out by the South London since the transfer window opened on January 1. It is the same clubs who have probably done business, said Rowett. It's been a very, very quiet window. Forest and Middlesbrough look to be the ones who are most active. The top teams are trying and consolidate their squads. The ones in the chasing pack are going to try their best to get in the top 6 in what is quite an open playoff race. It's what we're trying to do, and we have that ambition. Some teams are perhaps a little bit more capable of doing things quickly, but we've got to do it sensibly. So there you go. Jed Wallace will be involved yesterday, 100%, Rowett said. He'll either start or he'll be on the bench. You've got to imagine he was going to start. And like I said, he'll probably get subbed off, hopefully after he scored. And we're winning. And then the round of applause goes as he goes off into the sunset to join his new teammates as the board members have a powwow after the game, deep into the night, and they make an offer that everyone can agree on. And the deal gets done there and then. And we'll find out about it on Monday. Or maybe not, I don't know. So, moving on to this game, Nottingham Forest. Here is the preview. History. March 1929, first game of Millwall versus Nottingham Forest at Millwall. Now, watch this as I scroll down. Win, draw, win, loss. First defeat for us against them at our place, December 1976, after all those games, about 15 or so games, 2-0 loss. And then 2002, 20 or so years later, 2-1 loss against Forest at home. And then 6 in a row of no defeats for us. We don't play them that many times because they were, of course, in the Premier League and in the upper echelons for a while, and we were not. But they are now down at our level, and they even made it down to League One. Not good times for them, but maybe that's an indication of the results here. Because when they've had to come down to the leagues that we're at, play us, we've had the upper hand because they're obviously reeling from not being very good because they were a top team and they've fallen off and come down. Whereas League One, bottom of the Championship, top of League One is our level basically. Over the last 25 years, wasn't all that way, but over the last 25 years, that's been our level. So it seems when they come down to the den to play us at this level, we've got the upper hand. 27th of April 2013, another defeat, 1-0. And then in the League Cup, can we count that in the League Cup? August 2016, we lost 2-1 in the League Cup. So those of you who are keeping count, and then we go, the last game here, 19th of December. I don't know why, but for the last 3 occasions we've played them in December. But the last time was a 1-1 draw. If you've been keeping count, that's 4 defeats. 4 defeats only in the history of the fixture of Millwall versus Nottingham Forest. An incredibly one-sided game in terms of win or draw for Millwall. Yeah, just 4 defeats, and like I said, probably because we're the lower league team, they're basically the up team from the higher league. When they do come down to play us in our league, it means because they're having a bit of a rough time. So we seem to be doing quite well, and we end up not losing to them. And that is the situation as it stands. 4 defeats over a span of many games, probably 30 or so games. That's incredibly one-sided. Now, the last 2 have been draws, 1-1, 2-2. And you can see the scoreline 2-2 pops up quite a lot. 2019, 2-2. 2013, 2-2. 2008, 2-2. 1994, 2-2. 1988, 2-2. And that was it. Oh no, there's one more. 1929. That's a lot of 2-2s. Could that mean we could draw? Now, we've only lost 4 times. That there are quite a number of draws there. We know Gary Rowett likes a draw, so could we be seeing another draw? Maybe. Let's move on now to this. This is whoscored.com, and I'm going to go through some of the stats. So here you go. The last 6 games of Millwall versus Nottingham Forest, 2 wins for us, 3 draws, and 1 win for them. So there you go. And goal, not a lot of goals in it. 7 and 5 over 6. 7 for us, 5 for them over 6 games. That's not very good. So there you go. Scroll down to look at the tables. So quite close in the table as it is. You can see here, pretty close. Only 1 point in it. They've scored obviously more goals than us. A lot of teams have, but we've actually conceded less than them, and our defense hasn't been as good as it was last season in terms of, as you read in the news at their match preview, a number of clean sheets, only 5 this season, but still conceded less than them. Now they do have a new manager now, so and he seems to have turned everything around quite a bit. So let's look at the form table, which might tell more. Here you go. 6 and 13. Again, only 3 points in it. They have 10 points over the last 6 games. We have 7. We've conceded 9. They've conceded 5. So moving on now to the last 6 games, 6 home games for Millwall, and the last 6 away games for Forest. You can see, obviously the manager was probably well motivated for that Swansea game. They won that 4-1, but they didn't score at West Brom. They didn't score at Middlesbrough. They failed to score. That's kind of hopeful. In terms of us, we've scored in our last 5 home games at least 1 goal. So, and Forest have only kept 1 clean sheet away from home. That was against West Brom, who had a man sent off. So I can see we should be scoring at least 1 goal tomorrow. But now Lewis Grabban, notably, scored against Arsenal to the winning goal against Arsenal last week to help Forest score. Could we be seeing the ghost of Grabban past? We've seen it before. He does come back and score against us. Could it be Millwall 1, Grabban 1? Or could it be worse than that? Could it be Millwall 1, Grabban 2? I'm sure he's going to be well motivated for this. So here's the team characteristics and strengths and weaknesses. I'm not going to go through them all, but there you go. If you want to pause it and have a look, feel free. Match forecast, they say Millwall will dominate in the air. Millwall can control the game in the opposition's half. Nottingham Forest will score a long shot. And Millwall will score from a direct free kick. Now, they say that every week, but it doesn't happen. Rarely does it? But Jed Wallace may be playing, so maybe it could happen. So let's get into the predictions. Let's scroll down and see. Millwall conceded twice in the final 20 minutes of the game against Bristol City 2 weeks ago, as they were forced to leave Ashton Gate empty-handed. The Lions have seen their playoff bid stall in the past month with a run of 3 defeats from the last 5 games, sending them further back into the chasing pack. A historic FA Cup victory against Arsenal will soften the blow of back-to-back league defeats for Nottingham Forest fans, but Steve Cooper has moved early in the transfer window to bolster his playoff chasing Reds. So, what does that mean? Well, they predict Millwall 1, Nottingham Forest 2. So they haven't seen the history, obviously, but they reckon Forest are gonna win that game. We shall see. Now, moving on to David Prutton, what does he think? He does predictions for SkySports.com, and where does he see Millwall and Nottingham Forest? So we have to scroll all the way down, and he's gone for the same result: Millwall 1, Nottingham Forest 2. Interesting. Well, this league is a crazy league, to be honest with you. You get one result. It wouldn't surprise. Now, Reading got smashed by Fulham in midweek 7-0. It wouldn't surprise me if Reading won at the weekend. It really wouldn't. This league is crazy. Results are not consistent week to week. And Millwall gave a very good account of themselves against Crystal Palace, Premier League team. I'm sure the players will be now they're sad that they lost, but there are a number of factors that you could explain it away and think, oh, it was not that bad. One being the performance of Michael Olise, who absolutely turned on the Jets, turned on the skill in the second half and just changed the game. His match-winning performance there. Literally, he won that game for them. And the second was now Bart Biakowski was not in goal. Now Bart isn't always perfect. He fucked up against Bristol City, gifting them the first goal after about 7 minutes. But I think if Bart played against Crystal Palace, we would have had a chance to win that game. To be honest with you, I think we would have. And Bart coming back in, I think he's going to be motivated. And I think we've got Murray Wallace back. Now, he missed the Crystal Palace game as well. He's been playing very well this season. Very, very well. We may have Jed Wallace back. Now, he's probably got something to prove. This could be his last game for Millwall. Could be. He might know that, or he might suspect that. I don't know if he wants to go to Nottingham Forest, or he's still hoping other people come in for him. But if he doesn't want to go to Nottingham Forest, he's probably going to perform against them to say, this is what you're missing by not bidding enough money to sign me. So I could see him starting the game, and like I said, if he knows he's only going to play 60 minutes, he'll put 90 minutes worth of effort into 60 minutes and get subbed off, get a round of applause after scoring one, maybe setting up a couple, and I can see him walking off into the sunset on a high. That's the clutch players. When you need to do it, you do it. I think Jed Wallace is that type of player, similar to David Beckham against Greece, where we needed to win that game and he made it happen. I think Jed Wallace will probably know this may well be his last game for Millwall. His last home game, definitely, for Millwall, probably, because the next home game is against West Bromwich Albion on the 29th of January, and he probably won't be here by then. Unless he's staying until the end of the season and leaving for free. So I think he could very well know that this is his last home game, and he will be motivated and activated to turn it on. And I actually say that it's going to be Millwall 2, Nottingham Forest is a 0. I think Millwall will win this game 2-0. I think it's going to be a typical Millwall performance. It's going to be like the Birmingham City game. It's going to be well fought and well played, and you're going to see what you want to see as a Millwall fan. 2-0 to Millwall.